It's always fun to compare videos. So in this one, we have TBC Gracie on the bottom and Peak on the top. They were the first and second place dogs. I've got it in scroll mode. I've started them as they take the jump number 1. And you can see that TBC Gracie launches earlier and she tends to take a longer leap. But Peak lands sooner. And you can see how tight they're turning around the wing. Nice angle into the tunnel. Now the interesting thing about this is Peak seems to be getting into the tunnel sooner than TBC Gracie. And then when you come to the end of it, TBC Gracie is already out, and you can see the tunnel movement on the top frame, and Peak is out a little bit later. So that's where they lose some time. But based on the trajectory outside from the tunnel to that next jump, look at where TBC Gracie is pointed and look at where Peak is pointed. So Peak is landing in extension right in a perfect line to the next jump. TBC Gracie, on the other hand, lands about middle of the jump and then has to turn. Again, Gracie's jumping long. They're both up in the air. And on this turn, they're very close. Now Gracie's already launching up the A-frame, and then here comes Peak. So now I have synced them at the A-frame when the front paws just land. As we go through, they both reach the apex at approximately the same time. They're both off the A-frame at about the same time. Into the tunnel, so you can see Gracie's a little bit ahead. You can see the top tunnel still moving around. Gracie's out, and you can see where the ripples in the red tunnel up there, you can see where Peak is. So that definitely impacts Peak's time. Now from here I've resynced it as the dogs come out of the tunnel. Long launches. They're both making the turn. You can see that Gracie's already leaping over the next jump and is landing before Peak. Still a little bit behind. Still not quite at the tunnel at the same time. So definitely Gracie's ahead here, because you can see that Gracie's already over the next jump while Peak is just coming out of the tunnel. So let's look at the time for the tunnel. Now we're a little bit out of frame on the top, but I've synced it again to the beginning of the tunnel. And as they run through, Gracie's already out, Peak is still in the tunnel. So it seems that Gracie does tunnels faster. Now from the tunnel, they're still synced from the beginning of the tunnel. Pretty comparable over that jump. We're a little ahead on the bottom. Getting into the tunnel at about the same time. And exiting very closely. Now I think that Gracie lands closer to the jump here and is able to get a slightly better turn. So if we look at how far out Gracie is compared to Peak, see how far Peak goes out past the A-frame. Into the tunnel again. And we're finished.